Did Jeffrey Epstein hang himself or did somebody kill him?
Senator, I believe he hung himself in a cell in the Metropolitan Detention Center.
Are you going to release all the information about that?
Senator, we are working through that right now with the Department of Justice.
When do you think you'll have it done, Kash?
I think in the near future, sir.
Like before I die?
Senator, we've been working on that.
Why did the FBI give Mr. Strzok $1.2 million and Ms. Page $800,000 to settle a lawsuit?
Senator, I do not know that settlement was reached in the prior administration.
Who made the decision?
The prior Department of Justice.
Who in the prior Department of Justice?
The settlement for that kind of case can only come from the Attorney General, which would be Attorney General Merrick Garland.
So the Attorney General decided to give Mr. Strzok $1.2 million and Ms. Page $800,000 after they were fired after actively interfering in the 2016 election. Is that right?
My understanding is that was a settlement they agreed to.
Pass me the sick bucket, please. The Hunter Biden laptop. In October of 2016, shortly before the election, the New York Post wrote a story that was widely covered talking about Mr. Hunter Biden's influence peddling scheme based on his laptop. A couple of weeks later, Secretary of State, soon to be Secretary of State, Antony Blinken, organized a group of 51 so-called intelligence experts. Had some real rock stars on the list. Jim Clapper, John Brennan, Michael Hayden, Leon Panetta, and they said, oh, no, the story in the New York Post is not true. It's based on Russian disinformation. You remember that?
I do, Senator, as the lead investigator for Russiagate for the House Intel Committee.
Yeah. The FBI had the laptop for 10 months, hadn't they?
They did, Senator.
So the FBI knew right before the election that it wasn't Russian disinformation, didn't they?
And that was confirmed by the Inspector General's report.
Yeah. Who at the FBI refused to let the FBI tell the American people the truth?
I don't have that name in front of me, sir.
Well, would you look?
I will, sir.
I'd like to know. I'd like a name, not a division. I'd like the name. Person with a brain and a beating heart.
Yes, sir.
Did Jeffrey Epstein hang himself or did somebody kill him?
Senator, I believe he hung himself in a cell in the Metropolitan Detention Center.
Are you going to release all the information about that?
Senator, we are working through that right now with the Department of Justice.
When do you think you'll have it done, Kash?
I think in the near future, sir.
Like before I die?
Senator, we've been working on that, and we're doing it in a way that protects victims and also doesn't put out into the ether information that is irrelevant for production of the public, such as CSAM.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Senator Reid.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Director. As you're well aware, DOJ.
What you just saw between Senator John Kennedy and FBI Director Kash Patel might look, at first glance, like another heated Senate hearing. But beneath the back and forth lies a much bigger story about power, truth, and the fragile trust between the American people and their government. When Kennedy pressed Patel on whether judges, prosecutors, or ordinary citizens should get to pick and choose which laws they follow, the point wasn't just about the specific case of a Wisconsin judge. It was about the very foundation of equal justice. If the law doesn't apply evenly, if powerful people or institutions get special treatment, then the entire concept of justice begins to unravel. That theme only sharpened when Kennedy brought up Lisa Page and Peter Strzok. These weren't random FBI employees. They were senior officials, directly involved in politically sensitive investigations. And their private messages revealed a deep bias against Trump and a desire to sway outcomes. What Kennedy highlights is the contradiction. While their actions undermined public trust, they were rewarded with massive settlements, nearly $2 million combined after leaving the Bureau. For many Americans, that's the exact image of a two-tier system, where insiders land softly while outsiders are held to the harshest letter of the law. Then comes the Hunter Biden laptop controversy. This wasn't just about Hunter Biden. It was about the timing, the narrative, and the stakes of an election. The FBI had the laptop for nearly a year, yet when the New York Post reported on it, the public was told by a coalition of intelligence figures that it was Russian disinformation. Patel, under Kennedy's questioning, admitted that the Bureau already knew that wasn't true. The consequence? Millions of voters were left in the dark before casting their ballots. This is bigger than partisanship. It cuts to the heart of democratic integrity. If critical information is withheld or misrepresented before elections, then are voters truly making informed choices? And then we reach the point everyone's been waiting for, Jeffrey Epstein. Kennedy didn't dance around it. He asked bluntly whether Epstein was murdered or died by suicide. Patel stuck with the official story that Epstein hanged himself, but Kennedy pressed for the release of all the records. This moment matters because Epstein's case is more than a criminal matter. It's a cultural symbol of secrecy and unaccountability. Epstein was tied to some of the most powerful people in the world. When he died in federal custody under questionable circumstances, it wasn't just his story that ended, it was the chance for many powerful figures to be publicly exposed. That's why the Epstein question won't go away. It represents something bigger, whether Americans can trust their government to tell them the full truth when powerful interests are at stake. All of these threads, biased investigators, politically sensitive cover-ups, secretive settlements, and unanswered deaths, connect to one theme: transparency. Democracy doesn't work in the dark. People need to trust that their institutions will play it straight. When that trust is broken, cynicism grows, and with it, the health of the entire system declines. This isn't just political theater, it's a warning. If the FBI, DOJ, and other institutions don't embrace openness, if they don't confront the mistakes of the past and level with the American people, then hearings like this won't restore trust, they'll deepen the divide. So the real takeaway isn't just whether Kennedy grilled Patel or whether Patel held his ground. The question is whether the American people will finally get the transparency they've been demanding for years, because without truth, there can be no accountability, and without accountability, there can be no justice. And that's where you come in, staying informed, asking questions, demanding answers. That's the only way to make sure these issues don't get buried under bureaucracy and spin. If this exchange taught us anything, it's that truth doesn't come freely. It has to be fought for, pushed into the light, and protected once it's out.